Hello, this is Hiroshi Yamazoe. In this video, I will talk about my very poor days in my early 20s when I had just came out of a severe hikikomori state. As I have said in other videos, I became severely hikikomori due to anthropophobia when I was a child as a result of being repeatedly injured and assaulted by a group of children who attended the same school when I was in an elementary school. After that, I was neglected by my parents and spent about 10 years as a severe hikikomori person. And in my case, I really liked studying and taking tests at school because they were like some kind of games for me. They were fun and my grades were not bad, so I had adapted to school education very well. But it happened, the bullying, that experience of being adopted by a group of children on a daily basis changed my life forever. I became a severe hikikomori. Then I treated like trash by my parents and neglected by school and society, and I had no friends as well. So I thought that I was worthless and should kill myself. So I attempted suicide many times since my early teens, but I couldn't do it in the end because I was too scared to die. After that, I finally decided that if I couldn't die, I would have to live. By then, I had spent about 10 years in a state of severe hikikomori, but I started to make changes in my early 20s. However, my mood at that time was the worst of the worst because I thought I was going to kill myself and nothing mattered, and I kept hikikomori state beyond the recoverable level, and I pushed myself to the point where I had no choice than to suicide, and I thought the people in the society saw me as a complete madman who couldn't go back to the society anymore at that time. But even at that stage, I couldn't kill myself and had to go back to the society. I felt very awful and was very scared of the outside world and people, but I had no choice. I had to keep going steadily to recover. I went to some non-profit organizations that support hikikomori people, and I got various qualifications and a car license and to get a job. And I obtained a license in the field of caregiver, and around the age of 24, I got a job as an employee of a retirement home for the elderly people. However, it was an incredibly tough job for me. The staff was always very upset and unfriendly. However, during the work day, close communication and teamwork among the staff was always necessary, and close communication with the patients was also necessary. So the job required a very high level of communication skills and was very difficult for me because I was severely hikikomori for a long time due to my fear to other people. Even so, the hourly wage was about only USD. So I gave up this job immediately after about a month. I realized what a difficult job it was, and I was even more disappeared than I had been before. However, I remember how happy and proud I was when I received a salary of a little over 100,000 yen. After working there for a month, I was very happy about that. And then, using that salary, I rented an apartment and started living alone. It was an old apartment with a light steel frame. The rent cost was about 300 USD per month, a very cheap old apartment in Japan. The people living around me were workers from overseas. The building would shake when the residents walked along the corridors. It was very old, wrecked apartment, and I realized that caregiving was not for me, so I changed jobs to the manufacturing field. Basically, manufacturing is a job that deals with things. It was a much easier job for me than the caregiver job that deals with people. My first job in the manufacturing industry was at a factory in my town that made car parts. The monthly income was only about 100,000 yen, but at that time, right after the global financial crisis, so I thought I should be grateful just to be given a job like that to me. I had no support from my parents at all, so I was living in extreme poverty with just that salary. However, I felt a sense of accomplishment that I could live on my own, even though I was a very poor state. However, that was only looked like a step up from my severely hikikomori state. But from the general public average perspective in Japan, I was the lowest of the low. I don't mean this in a self-pitying way, but that's exactly how the Japanese public saw me. I have known this since I was in a severely hikikomori state. What would the average Japanese person think of a 24 years old working poor man living in a 300 USD rent apartment with an 8 USD per hour job who only had an elementary school education? It's not a good one. It is a subject of scorn and humiliation in Japan. It is obvious from the opinions on the Japanese internet and elsewhere, but Japanese people just don't say it out in the open. For example, at that time, when I was posting about my current situation on Japanese social media, I was often accused. I was called a stupid slave labor or a poorly educated trash, something like that. Moreover, I was being accused not only by ordinary Japanese people but also by some of the Japanese hikikomori and needs. From the point of view of highly educated needs and hikikomori, and receive generous support from their parents, I think people like me can be slammed and looked down. I had already known well enough that I was a complete social failure, but it reaffirmed it even more on multiple levels. At that time, I was extremely poor. As I said before, I had zero support from my parents and there was no support from the government either. I had no one else to rely on. Zero friends. The salary from the company was about 1,000 USD. In addition to housing and living expenses, I had to pay for psychiatric care, insurance, car expenses, and so on. I was in a state of working poor. Before payday, I only had a few tens of yen. In all, my cash and savings in my bank account. I ate packaged udon noodles that were about to expire and were discounted to about 10 yen to survive the starvation. However, I was very ignorant and naive at that time. I didn't even know that I could use the social security system. I thought the world was a harsh place where if I couldn't walk, I would have to die. So at that time, I thought the world was like Mad Max. I thought it was normal that no one would help me. I was ignorant. In this situation, I had to take on a usual crazy challenge in order to save money on food. I think this is one of the episodes that shows how I was driven crazy by financial difficulties at that time. It is to use dog food as my primary food source. Some dog foods are expensive, but the small cookie-like dog foods are inexpensive even though the portions are very large. So I thought that was a very good deal for my food. Moreover, when I saw it in commercials or online videos, the dogs are eaten up as it like really tasty. Also, dogs need to eat only this. It seems to be a complete food that contains all the necessary nutrition. So I came up with a very crazy idea that dog food is such good food. So I bought a big bag of dog food as my own food. But it was really bad. It looked like a cookie, but the taste was sour and indescribably distasteful. I ate a few of them and then I gave up. Then I threw it all away. It was a waste of money. However, I know it is not a matter of taste. It was not food for humans, so it could make humans sick. So I was driven mad by extreme poverty like this. So I lived in such hopeless poverty in my early 20s. At that time, I thought that this kind of life was just painful and did not benefit me in any way. However, I think it has become some kind of benefit to me now. Of course, it would have been even better if I had had a different ideal early 20s. But I am sure that the hopeless experience has helped me in some way now. One of the benefits was that I was later able to step up to a better paying job. It was a live-in type logistics job in an automobile company. It was hard work, but the annual income was 4 to 5 million yen. I was able to save about 2 to 3 million yen a per year because the housing was free and I didn't spend any money so much. I think this job was possible because I was obsessed with getting out of the poor state somehow. If I had known that the social security system, I might have been satisfied with it and stuck with it. Then I would not have been able to step up that job. Secondly, I believe that I have learned that I can survive on my own without relying on anyone in particular, even in such hard situations. So I think I can survive even if I fell into that kind of poverty situation again. In any case, in Japan, I think that living without an educational background in a working poor state and without support from parents or the government is a little hard thing to do. In addition, it is not valued by anyone. In Japan, they are disrespected. They are shamed as poorly educated, stupid, slave laborers, something like that. This is a very sad thing. However, that circumstance may be a precious experience that is hard to get in this modern Japan, which has become lukewarm due to the food-saturated society. I believe that there are probably a few people in Japan today who have experienced similar extreme poverty, and I know that there are many such poor people in countries around the world other than Japan. But I think they are valuable experiences that cannot be wasted. For example, let's say we are playing Mario. If Mario is always invincible and doesn't die even if Mario falls into a hole, then what's the point of playing Mario? I think that would be very boring and I would not feel any point in playing. The fact that Mario dies if you make a mistake is what makes it worthwhile to play seriously while planning a strategy to conquer the stage. I thought that this situation might be similar to the situation where people are protected by social security even though they are healthy, because if we are automatically provided with food and a place to live by social security, I think it is likely that we won't have to think our survival strategy seriously anymore, and there is no longer any point in improving ourselves in order to survive. And just as if Mario were invincible, we wouldn't feel any meaning in playing Mario. We wouldn't feel meaning in life partially. Therefore, I believe that the situation where we are alone and in between life and death with no one to help us can be a valuable opportunity to motivate us to think seriously about our lives. And I think that situation itself becomes the meaning of life, maybe. But I don't think I have gained any great wisdom from that extreme poverty situation. I just feel I got a just little bit stronger than before I was very weak. But in any case, it is meaningless if we really die from the hard challenges. So I think it is not good to just take on hard challenges recklessly. So I think it's important to have a balance always, I think. So in this time, the theme of Hikikomori and Poverty, I talked about my period of extreme poverty. Thank you for watching, and I run a community called Global Hikikomori Community. The link is in the description section of this video. I'm currently working on project in there. If you would like to join, please feel free to do so. And I'll be posting more and more videos. If you are interested, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you.